historically the most significant. This first comes up in 1777, and it's built by a chap. The architect is a chap named Thomas Lyon, which is why the road behind here, which serves very good street food, incidentally, is called Lyon's Range. So Lyon built this, and it's called Writers' Buildings, plural. That's because you've got the front wing that you can see now, but there are four wings going backwards towards Lyon's Range. Now what's happened over the years, illegal construction has come up along the back, in between and on the top. But now, thanks to Montemanji not wanting to come back here, the entire building is being restored. Why writers? So these young East India Company officials were recruited in the UK to come out here, and the junior, most unqualified people would come out here by the time they were about 18, 19 years old. They come out here and work literally as writers. Why? So Raj Bhavan is what, half a kilometer away behind us? You've got the Governor General sitting there. Now he's in charge of everything from Aden to Singapore. Not just India and the bits and pieces that they were doing here before they took control of all of India. The chap sitting here was the CEO, you can put it that way, or Southeastern Vice President for everything from Aden across to Singapore. Today we'd be able to communicate at the click of an email. Your orders would go out to your regional managers. How would you do it back then? He would dictate a letter to his secretary. The secretary would bring across that master copy, give it to a group of people who'd make, say, 200 copies, and then you'd have 200 lads sitting at desks with one master copy on one side and a big stack of paper on the other side, having to literally, manually write it out time and time again. So the vast majority of people sitting here, all they ever did was write. So to put it another way, it's a glorified, overgrown and rather red photocopy machine. Okay? But what it does have is a significant claim to fame that's not very well talked about. All of us here can speak Hindi. Okay? More or less all of us here, not as badly as you, but I'm sure you can. Hindi as we know it today was born in this building. The company had a linguist, a chap by the name of John Borthwick Gilchrist. He was the East India Company linguist. He would teach these young lads coming across to the UK the local languages. Whilst he's working here, he takes 17 regional spoken languages, Boli, Pari, a whole lot of local languages. He puts them into a pot, cooks them up, takes the Devanagari script and cooks up what we now know today as the Hindi language. This is a matter of undisputable fact, it's not an opinion. Maybe indigestible to many of us, but this East India Company official is responsible for Hindi as we know it today. I'm of course not referring to the old Sanskrit, but the modern Hindi language is quite new and it was cooked up by the company in this building. Many people, many famous people, starting with Warren Hastings right the way down to Jyoti Basu, all worked in this building here. Its most recent history was of course pivotal with the role of Mamata Banerjee. She was demonstrating in here during the communist years, gets severely beaten and then is hauled out into an ambulance, and that's when she says that I will never set foot in here again until I become Chief Minister. And that's exactly what she did 14 years later. She walks in here as Chief Minister, makes an immediate U-turn and walks back out again saying, I'm not going to work here. That gave the restoration people a wonderful excuse. There's a good friend of mine working in here, a chap by the name of Kanakendu Sinha, who's the PWD Presidency Division in charge. I hesitate and don't like to use the term restoring the building, because what he's doing is taking the building from all the developments and AC ducts and the illegal constructions, taking it back in time to what it originally was. So I don't like using that word restoration or refurbishment or even repair. This building is quite literally going back in time. To the extent that, if you have a look at the statues up at the top, particularly these groups, there's 4 of them, and I can never remember all of them. There's agriculture, commerce, science, and I think industry along the end here. You've got Minerva up at the top. All of these statues were made using Thames clay and baked in ovens in Lambeth in South London. Okay? To restore them, to repair them, they've gone back to Lambeth to the same pottery people and getting these repaired there. That's the extent of trying to get it right. The wrought iron railings up at the three terraces, even the repairing work is coming out of Bristol in the UK. That's the extent to which they are trying to get it right, every single detail. Good morning.
Excuse me, one question.
Sure.
What I understand, I may be wrong. There were a number of statues in Rome, which was later on removed by Jyoti Chakraborty when he was the minister of State, which was, have they been brought back or they are being still in the...
I've never heard this.
Not on top of right.
Yeah, I've never heard this. Whichever statues are up at the top, they're still there. If they're missing, it's because of damage. Okay? But I've not heard of anybody removing these statues. There were other statues standing in the square. Yeah. But as far as writers' buildings, I've not heard about any statues being removed from writers. The only bit of bad news with writers' buildings is the current government has not made it clear what they want to do with writers. Okay? So we don't know. There are enormous opportunities. The Indian Museum is overflowing with artifacts. They can shift things in here. We can have boutique hotels. All sorts of activity can take place. But Nabana has not made it clear what they want to do with this building. But out of every negative, there's a positive. Because of their dithering, the engineers here, the restoration people can go slow. They can go slow, they can get it right, get all the correct materials in and get this right. So it is, you'll see a lot of demolition work if you're ever at the back. Nothing to worry about. It's the kind of new buildings, as it were, the illegal constructions being pulled down. West Bengal government. This comes under the government of West Bengal.
So they are saving this one.
Yeah, very much
But
so.
very slowly.
Yeah.
They are financing back. That was broken 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And you can't, with a building like this, old building, if the bank will take away all the ones that will force you to pay. You're exposing the old building to a lot of damage, rain especially. And they haven't done anything, not even a simple thing like covering the back where they haven't done it.
There are a few gaps. There are a few gaps, but they are trying very, very hard. I mean, the buildings at the back. So you've got this main building at the front and four wings going backwards. The problem is they built these illegal constructions between, and they're physically interconnected to the old building. So when they were demolishing it, they couldn't even take a jackhammer to it. It was brick by brick. They had to take it apart brick by brick so that they wouldn't risk the old building here. Any questions about writers? So
When do we go in?
I'm trying for December. They promised me a date in December. So we will get to the end of December.
So, yes, one
Very
question.
obtuse. Sure.
How many people actually worked here? What kind of capacity did the building have at its peak? You know, several hundred.
We don't. It would have been not even several hundred. I would guesstimate. We don't have exact figures, but I would guesstimate it can hold between 3,000 to 5,000 people. Because you've got about 4 floors, and just this front wing here is enormous. Then you've got 4 other wings going backwards. It's quite a large building.
And they lived here also.
No, they only worked here. They only worked here. So Dalhousie was the very heart of this corporate empire. They worked here. The boss lived across the road in Rajbhavan. But going back before that, this was of course the site of the old Fort William. Where Fort William is today, that's the new Fort William. The old Fort William was up at the top here. And this is also where the famous Battle of Lal Dighri took place, which is what I'm going to tell you about next. So follow me and we'll learn some more.